Like it is the bedrock of what we do as endurance athletes, right? And so when you look at how this was built out through some of the history of the sport, Lydiard first discovering it, Daniels coming out like from a scientific lens and then applying that, his systems won multiple Olympic medals, age class records across distances, et cetera. It's the foundation, it's the layer of training that every other session that we do builds upon. And so when I talk to athletes who are looking for marathon success, that's primarily the athletes I'm coaching, we talk about how the easy running is key. And we have to break down a lot of things about that because everybody has different ideas about easy running. And so I'm hoping in this video, I can actually break down what that means, what it does inside your body, how much you need. So the first piece I want to talk about is like, well, what even is easy running, right? So we're not talking about just like shuffling around or, jogging up and down at a stoplight, right? It's a controlled, steady effort where your breathing is relaxed. And the thing you've probably heard mostly is like hold a conversation without struggling, right? There's the RPE scale, which if you look at the research time and time and time again, the RPE scale comes out on top in terms of doing it. Now, the caveat to that is you have to fully properly understand what your RPE zones are and how those are calibrated to different like zones, paces, and intensities, right? So if you are somebody who understands your RPE really well, when we're talking about easy running, we're talking about anywhere from RPE 1 to 4 on a basic RPE scale. If we look at the Borg scale, kind of the OG scale, that goes from 6 to 20, right? It's supposed to correspond roughly with heart rate. We're looking anywhere from 8 to 12, maybe 13, depending on the person and what you're doing, right? Then there's the 5-zone model, which we're commonly using the Friel 7 zone we've used those for. So this would be like zone 0, 1, and 2 would all fall into this easy running type range. Some other common term ones that would fall in this easy day range would be recovery, easy, or endurance, depending on the model. If you're looking at time to failure models, that's your all day. If you're looking at heart rate, we're looking, as I said, kind of, that 50, 60 to 60, 65, depending on the paper. Daniels would describe this as easy. If you're a big fan of the Norwegian system with the lactate monitored system, this would be like 0.7 to 1.5, maybe 2. You'd have to be really dialed in on that. So that's like what we're calling under your first lactate threshold, your LT1, right? So this is what I meant off the top where it's so confusing. There's so many different models here, right? And that's why I wanted to list them all because it doesn't matter what model you use as long as you're using it appropriately to do the easy volume that's important, right? And so when I tell my athletes and I'm talking about it, right, it's like, I want you to feel like you're running a little slower than you should. We think we need to be going faster, right? And what happens is we know that there's not much of a difference in terms of the aerobic benefit that you get from going slightly faster. It's really negligible, right? But what will happen is you have an increased degradation of the peripheral muscular system, right? So I don't mean you're like degrading and falling apart, but you increase the soreness, the load, and the injury risk, right? And what we know is that consistency over time compounds to give you success, right? So success in the marathon is really a lagging indicator of great behaviors and training over weeks, months, and even years, right? And so what we want to do is we want to ensure that we're getting maximal benefit with minimal risk, right? And so this is why you'll start seeing a lot of elite athletes in the marathon, right? Who live by this idea, right? So they might race like, one of my top guys who's looking to run, hopefully, in the low 210s this year, right? He can race low 5-minute miles in the marathon, but is doing his easy days at 7:30 to 8 minutes, right? So 2.5 to 3 minutes slower, right? Per mile. And they're not embarrassed by it, and they know that those runs are building those engines. So when I'm talking to athletes, the people trying to qualify for Boston, maybe they're trying to run 4 hours or 3 hours, whatever it is, right? It's like if this person who's trying to make senior national teams is not embarrassed by it and feels like they are getting gains out of it, you probably can too, right? And so I want athletes to think about that because if this is the bedrock, this is the part we have to get right. Because if we don't get this right, what oftentimes I see athletes doing is they go too fast on their easy days. Then they're too tired when they get to their workouts. So they bomb their workouts and their confidence goes or they get injured. And then when they get injured, they come back and they think, I've missed time. I got to make up for it. And they just crank again, right? And so really understanding what easy running is, what it does, and how it works is really crucial to success.